What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, and we are going to solely focus on Enzo Fernandez in this video. Now, I say solely focus. I will have a little tiny bit at the end that's not Enzo Fernandez related, but in the main, we're going to be talking about Enzo Fernandez in today's video. He's probably the player who's been linked to us strongest in the last week or so, particularly after his exploits in the World Cup with Argentina, where of course he received the award for the young player of the tournament. I want to know your thoughts on both the player and the stories that I'm going to speak about today. And there's only going to be two. One is pro him coming to Liverpool, and the other is pro him maybe going elsewhere. And I guess I just want to know what your thoughts are on both of them. So you know what to do. Let me know in the comment section. Do drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. So let's start off with the bad news version of today's event. So Get French Football News, who are a very, very well-known publication, have said that Liverpool are joined in the race for the signature of Enzo Fernandez from Benfica by none other than PSG. Probably guessed that, didn't you? Because we were talking about a French outlet. And we did see PSG's president speaking during the World Cup about, great players who they'd be interested in and whatnot. But they go to say under this article that rumours that Liverpool and Fernandez have an agreement in place are rife. They don't go on to say whether they believe they are true or untrue, but they do say that PSG have joined the race for the player. Now, I've got to say, whenever I hear of anybody being linked to a PSG, I think of them going for one reason and one reason only, and that is piles and piles and piles of cash. Because nobody can tell me they grew up in Argentina dreaming about playing in the French league. With all due respect to the league, which has got some really good players in it and is making progress, it's a one-team league right now. You've got PSG, and yes, once in a blue moon, you'll see another team win it like Lille did, but ultimately it's a one-horse league. And they always come up short in the Champions League, for my opinion, because they don't have enough competitive games in the French league to keep them sharp and ready for when the knockout stages of the Champions League comes about. So if Enzo Fernandez likes the idea of moving to Paris, I think it will be because of a truckload of cash. I don't know if Leo Messi is going to be there, so I don't know if Leo Messi would be enough of a reason for him to maybe go and look at PSG. I fully believe Messi will be off. Maybe the romantic in me wants him back at Barcelona, but I don't know if that'll be enough of a reason. So from that perspective, I want to know what you think. Would PSG be a good fit for him? If you were him, would you be interested in that move to PSG? Or are you a little bit like me and thinking that if he did move there, like other players before, and Julian Draxler is another good example, somebody who was really highly thought of, went to PSG, and his career kind of just petered away into nothingness. So I would say, again, come to the Premier League. Not necessarily Liverpool. I think Manchester City will be a much better fit for him than PSG. I think Real Madrid will be a much better fit for him than PSG. And yeah, I hate PSG. There is also that to add into this fact. The next story, though, is a bit of a more upbeat one with regards to Liverpool's chase of Enzo Fernandez. And this comes from a publication called O Jogo. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they're a Portuguese outlet. They've gone on to say that Enzo Fernandez's preference is to join Liverpool. And that is the news that we want to hear. Now, we do know that Arlian Tchouameni had a similar choice, and he decided that Real Madrid was where he wanted to go. And Liverpool, knew they lost that battle, and he went and signed for Real Madrid. So I want to know from you guys right now, how strongly do you want Enzo Fernandez? Do you think he's worth 120 million euro, if that's the number that's going to be required to get his signature? Remember, he only signed for Benfica from River Plate. I think it's not about 6 months ago, if even that, since he signed there for 10 million quid. So it's quite a hefty markup for a player that has had a very productive 6 months. I wouldn't feel comfortable with Liverpool spending that much money. But then again, I've always said the same thing. As football fans, we shouldn't really need to be bothered about the finances. That should be the club's business. For us, we should be just hoping and wanting the best players to come and play for Liverpool Football Club. And this man, according to the footballing world at this moment, should fall into that category. But there is the elephant in the room. Well, that's not a very nice way for me to speak about Jude Bellingham, but you know what I mean. There is the money. We can't just ignore FSG's past. We can't just ignore the fact that usually when we have a bit of a splurge on player acquisitions or player purchases, it's after selling players. we're hoping that this might be a little bit different. We're hoping that in January and in the summer windows, we see progress and we see that money fronted up from FSG to rebuild. But it didn't really help yesterday when we seen stories linking us to that loan move for Juventus's Weston McKennie. And I brought that up on yesterday's video. That kind of put the nerves up a few people. And I understand why. Because we've been sold this pup before. We've been told that, oh, future money, loads of money there in the future, all the generational talents and all. But when it comes time to biting the bullet and writing that check or doing that bank transfer, FSG have shied away. So I want to know how strongly you think this is a possibility. For me, I'd like it to be true. I'd like Liverpool to sign him. I can see why he's an attractive proposition. But Jude Bellingham is my number one priority. And if Liverpool are only going to spend money or a significant amount of money on one midfield player, for me, I would much more rather, and I'd feel much more comfortable if that player was Jude Bellingham. So that's pretty much where we are with that one. But it is always lovely to read that a player's preference is for Liverpool because, well, it just strokes our egos a little bit, doesn't it? We all think that Liverpool are the greatest club in the world. We all want players to believe the same thing. And if they look at Liverpool right now under Jurgen Klopp with the players that we have and see it as an attractive proposition, we're not going to argue with them, are we? Right, so the last thing that I had today, and I did say a little bit at the end of the video that wasn't really Jude Bellingham related, or excuse me, that wasn't Enzo Fernandez related. I'm Jude Bellingham on the brain. I swear, well, no, I'm not going down that route. But if I accidentally call my missus Jude one night, I think she'll understand. But anyway, not that I dream about Jude in that way. Anyway, look, we move on to speak about Steve Nicol. Oh yeah, that's Steve Nicol. The Steve Nicol that likes to talk pony. Let's say pony here, folks. And he has said that Liverpool should sign former Manchester United forward Memphis Depay to solve our injury crisis up top. I don't know if Steve Nicol has lived under a rock, but Memphis Depay's character, his personality traits, they aren't really ones that I could see fitting in with the group at Liverpool Football Club. He's a bit of a solo, shall we say. He's a bit of a solo merchant, shall we say. And it didn't work out for him at Manchester United. I probably came too early in his career. I won't hold that against him. The guy has talent. The guy is also at a contract with Barcelona at the end of the summer. But nothing, and I mean nothing, that I've learned or watched or seen over the years from Memphis Depay makes me think that he will be after anything other than a money grab for this deal, because it could be one of the last big money deals in his career. If he's going to be leaving Barcelona potentially on a free, he's going to command an astronomical signing on fee and I'm sure pretty hefty wages. And on top of all of that, I just don't want him at Liverpool Football Club. So for me, Steve, it's a big no. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree with Steve Nicol? Would you like to see Memphis Depay at Liverpool? Or do you have common sense and a rational brain that thinks it's absolute nonsense? Up to you. Time to you to decide. Are you rational or are you in the Steve Nicol camp? Sorry, I'm a bit playful today. It is the Christmas season after all. So look, that's it for me tonight. There isn't too much else. I could bring you vague links, but I don't want to do that. I want to talk about the things that I think are realistic. Do keep an eye out as well, because at midnight tonight, I'll be dropping the Manchester City preview video as well with start 11, score predictions, all that stuff. I will talk to you then. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.